Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Juju's Journey. If you're new here, I'm 30. I'm 57, not 37. I'm 57 years old. I'm a widow, 1 year and 1 month today to be exact. This is the first time I've ever lived by myself, so last year was a very tough year for me, and so this channel is really about a lot of things. It's about my journey of trying to find joy, peace, happiness, learning how to live again, everything. I mean, I was with my husband since I was 22, and now I'm 57, almost 58, so it's just a new journey, and so I'm trying to kind of document it, but I also want it to be a channel to help people, or you can help me. I'm 57, never lived by myself in my whole entire life, and now I've done it for 1 year and 1 month. And I live on a very tight budget, so I do a lot of budgeting videos as well, because that keeps me accountable. And I guess this channel is more like documenting my progress of trying to find joy and happiness. And I'm doing pretty good. So please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. I really like it when you comment. That makes me happy. And you know, I'm trying to be happy. I'm kind of going through this guilt stage of, in my grief, of being happy. I'm not so bad. I'm not beating myself up that bad. But I faked it. I mean, last year, we still laughed and we still had fun. Don't get me wrong. We had enjoyment, but it was almost like you were in a fog, you know, and it was like you were going through the motions. This year, I'm not, you know, approaching January 2026. I'm not in a fog anymore. So I'm very aware of everything. Last year, I was not aware of anything, to be quite honest. A friend of mine who, well, she's, you know, very educated. Not saying that you have to be educated to know what I'm about to tell you. But she knows what she's talking about. And she said my brain just had to rewire, you know. When you go through trauma, things like that, you just have to, your brain's got to rewire. And I can tell I'm more of me than I was last year. I'm still not the same, don't at all. But I'm coming back. I'm almost there. But I was feeling with guilt, you know, like, because I'm waking up every morning and I'm not just popping my eyes open and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in Groundhog Day. That's what I felt like. You know, you get up and it's like you pop your eyes open and you're like, oh no, it wasn't a dream. Here we go again. The same thing. Same reality. Same reality. I'm not waking up with that as my first thought. I'm waking up now and, you know, waking up thinking, okay, what do I have to do today? Things like that. Not the same as it was 2 months ago, even in December. I don't know if it's because I'm focusing more on the reality, you know. I mean, now it's a reality. It's not a bad dream. It's real. But he wouldn't want me to be sad and live under a dark cloud. And I know God doesn't want me to be sad and live under a dark cloud. And if I do continue to be sad and live under a dark cloud, then all I'm doing is wasting my life away. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. And once I changed my mindset, and I think that was what, mid-December? December was really hard. But I think Thanksgiving did it because Thanksgiving was the very last first that we had. And then, of course, December was the month that he passed away. But actually, on the 1-year anniversary that he passed away, I'd gotten up that morning and asked God to give me a sign. And I'd already started focusing back on trying to get out of my depression. And he did. He gave me a big sign that day. A big one. And I took that sign to mean exactly what it meant to me, like freedom, like took a big load of stress off. I was able to pay my house off on that day. There was money in an estate that had not been released, and it was released that day. And it wasn't released. I didn't know it was coming that day. I don't even think the attorneys knew that it was going to happen that quickly. But when it did, and they called and said, come sign this paperwork and go transfer that over to your account, I was like, what? And it wasn't it had nothing to do with my husband's estate, by the way. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So, I drove up there as fast as I could, signed paperwork, went to the bank, transferred money, went to the other bank, found out what the payoff amount was, went and got a cashier's check, ran, and in 30 minutes from the time I was called from the attorney's office to come sign paperwork, I paid my house off, and I had no more house payment. And that was almost $800 a month. And living on a very tight budget, you've got to understand what a relief that was. And so that was my sign. That sign was saying that now I can save a little bit more money to do more enjoyable things instead of being on such a tight budget that you can't do anything, So, putting my little $5 back in all my little categories actually paid for my little beach trip that's coming up this weekend. But like I said, that's a cheap little vacation I'm doing. It's only going to be 2 nights with my Aunt Debbie, who's like my sister. We're sharing a room. It's with 2 queen-size beds. It's got a balcony overlooking the beach. And all we're going to do is sit there, look at the ocean, play cards, talk, and laugh, and probably have a few little toddies. If that, we might not even have toddies. Because we both don't feel, this crud that we have, we don't feel the best in the world. And she just got it like 2 weeks ago. And now she understands, because I would tell her, one day you feel great, and then the next day you feel like poop. And she said it was the strangest thing. That's exactly how it's doing her. And I said, and it's a cough that just lingers, is staying. But anyway, we're going to have fun. Our plan is to not leave the hotel because it has a bar downstairs and it has a restaurant. We want to go and just get away and act like we're doing something when we're not doing anything at all. So I'm going to pay for 1 night, and she's going to pay for 1 night. And she told me to fill my vehicle up going, and then she'll top it off coming home. And so everything's going to be split 50-50. And so that hotel room's only $110 a night in North Myrtle Beach. And it's a nice hotel. But plus tax. And then whatever meals I eat. So I would imagine for a little over $200, not counting the gas. Let's just say $250. I'm going to be at the beach for we're leaving first thing Friday morning. So 3 days and 2 nights. We're going to have a great time. But that one night in Charleston is going to cost me, and I got a discount because I'm a member of that little hotel group. It's going to cost me $530 for less than 24 hours. I check in at 4 and have to check out at 11. But that hotel's good. That's where we stayed when that's where I stayed when my grandson was having his heart surgery. And so I've stayed in that hotel probably 3 times because, when he was medevac there, and then when I would go down and spend the night, usually my husband and I would do day trips, but when he was having a procedure done, I'd go and spend the night because they would be happening first thing in the morning. And then plus I wouldn't want to be too far away in case there were complications because it was really touch and go. But I love that hotel. I feel safe, secure, and it's absolutely gorgeous. They can have, I think, like 3 or maybe 4 formal events in that hotel at one time. And you would never see each event happening. In their lobby, so huge, but so inviting. Like, people really just hang out in the lobby. You can see people working on their computers. You can see people playing games, like card games. And then there's a bar there, but they have a Starbucks, and they have a huge restaurant. And then they have a rooftop bar. Very nice hotel. And so, and it's it's on the river, so you can, and it's right there at the harbor, too. You can walk less than a block and be at the Charleston Harbor. Beautiful, beautiful location. And so that's where we're going to stay. And I'm not going to complain about that price either because I'm excited. This time I'll have a king-size bed there and a balcony. And that's going to make me happy. But no, I'm happy. I feel good. I woke up this morning. Today's Sunday. I did my cash stuffing video. Y'all need to go watch it. I'm getting a little bit better. I'm still not that good. I'm not good at the camera angles, and I'm not good at really describing everything I should. But I'm getting better. It's a lot better than my first video. But I'm telling y'all, if you have not, I don't care how old you are. I don't care what stage of life you're in. I don't care if you have $1 million in your checking account. You need to do a zero-based budget. That saved me last year. It literally saved me. Because when my husband passed away, I did not get his Social Security any longer. And not that I'm complaining, it wasn't mine, but, my husband and I had been married forever. And, I didn't work outside the home. Except I taught preschool, but I haven't worked outside the home in forever. And so his Social Security and a little bit of his retirement, like we had an allowance from our financial planner, and we were living good. I mean, our financial planner did not want us to live any differently than we did while my husband worked, so we had the same income coming in every month when my husband retired and when he started drawing Social Security as when he worked. And, so that was a nice income. Well, I went from that nice income to, I don't know, a third of it. I don't know, I get $3,000 a month, and I still had all of my bills and my house payment. Left very little wiggle room. And when you have money tied up, and it came from, when money hasn't been taxed and you roll it over, And then it had to come into my name because, of course, it was in his name because it was his retirement. Anyway, all of that money's got to be rolled over to my name and it gets taxed. And so I have a 10-year window or something. And so he does not want me to lose. Like if we took it all out, then I would be taxed on all of that retirement money. So it's got to come out in little small increments. And so whatever I get right now, of course, is being taxed. But I'm not losing money in the process. Like none of the retirement has dwindled down. But if I took any more out, it would. And then if I started taking more out that it dwindled down, then eventually I probably wouldn't have any money. Because there's not, it costs a lot to live. And so if I wasn't careful, that money may not be there to even give me $3,000 a month. But right now it's making enough money that $3,000 a month is not hurting me, you know. Everything's staying the same. He knows what he's doing. He's really good. And so hopefully, you know, he wants to take me to my retirement age to draw Social Security. So he doesn't even want me to do it at, what, 63, whatever. I think he wants me to wait until I'm 67. Possibly 65. I don't know. I told him I don't know why, because my husband didn't live but a few years, or about a year and a half on it. And, you know, I had one friend of mine who's, she's older than I am, but she said that she's real good. I'm not good with all that kind of stuff, but she is. And she did all the calculations. If she had waited until, I think she started drawing hers at 62. But she said in 10 years, because you get less money each month the earlier you draw it. So if you wait longer, you get more money each month. But she did all the calculations, and she said it was either 8 or 10 years. It was all going to even out. It's the same amount of money. It's just being stretched over a longer period of time. So in 10 years of her drawing it, if she had waited that amount of time, it was all going to be the same amount of money. She didn't lose any money, but she said I would have lost if I died. Like if she only drew it for 2 years, like my husband did, like he would have made way more money or gotten more of his Social Security that he paid in if he had started drawing it earlier. But I'm going to listen to the financial advisor because I'm not going to wish my life away. You know, if something comes up and I know I'm going to be in poor health or something, then I'll reconsider, but I'll listen to him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he is so smart. And I really love him and his wife and his children. I taught his children. But he's a cute little fellow with a good personality. I told him I always wanted to just stick him in my pocket and take him everywhere because he was so smart. And so when I told him that I wanted to make a shirt with his little head sticking out the pocket. And his name is Joe, and I can't remember. I came up with a t-shirt slogan, and it was like, everywhere I go, I carry Joe, or something. I don't know what it was, but it was so funny. So funny. But his wife, they have a really good personality. Anyway, his wife had made several years prior, you know, those little stuffed animals that you could make that, say, for example, if it was like a Raggedy Ann, it would have the head. It kind of looked like a gingerbread man. Hold on, I'll go get it. Don't go anywhere. This is so funny. So funny. Okay, y'all, this is so funny. So I told him I wanted him on my t-shirt, right? And he said, well, if you want to, He goes, I'll give you something. You got to understand, this is after my husband died too. He said, I've got something just for you. And I said, okay. And he came back with this. This is him. This is my financial advisor. His wife made him into a pillow. And this is Joe. He can go anywhere. I can carry Joe with me anywhere. But Joe sits on my bookshelf in my office. And he says, you better save money. Isn't that hilarious? My little Joe. But anyway, if I had not started, and Joe didn't tell me to do that, by the way. I was just watching, like, budget. Well, I started this a little bit when my husband was alive. But I started watching the envelope stuffing videos, and that really, I mean, I started out with just envelopes. My husband just really couldn't get on board. But then when he died, I really went into it, you know. He got excited one time because he wouldn't get on board. He wouldn't let me do the zero-based budget. And I would say, okay, you get an allowance of this each week. So if you want to go buy a new guitar or new, you know what, you can save up for it. But you're going to get $50 a week is what I told him. And I said, and then you can save up for it. You don't have to spend your $50. You can just keep holding on to it, holding on to it. I said, but you will not hear one word from me about, are you kidding me? You have 13 guitars and you want another one or something like that. I said, you won't hear anything from me. And then whenever I decide I want to go buy whatever, a new Cricket or something like that, I won't hear a word from you saying, well, you've got like 2 in there. And I'm like, well, they're the outdated versions. You know, we won't fuss at each other, which we didn't really anyway. But he would be like, so you're trying to tell me I've got money to go buy what I want, but you're going to wait, and because, you know, we would only get money once a month. He was upset that I wouldn't give it to him all at one time. But I kept doing it. I kept giving myself allowance, and I would hold it back, hold it back, hold it back, hold it back. And there was something he wanted, and he said, should I get it? And I said, how bad do you want it? And I said, how bad do you want it? And he said, well, I want it pretty bad. Oh, I know what it was. It was that daggum safe. I've got my, it was a big safe. It was an expensive safe. It's like almost a $10,000 safe. But no, I had, and we already have another safe too. But I was really stuffing. I had a good amount saved up. And he said he really wanted, so that would have been a big ticket item that we would have really had to sit down and discuss. So I said, how bad do you want it? And he said, I want it really bad. And I said, well, you know how I keep getting you to get it was actually this. I said, go get this bag out the safe. And he said, okay. He thinks I've got like $50 in there. Anyway, I start pulling out, and I had like, the safe was on sale, so it was like a $10,000 safe, and it was like $8,000. I had $5,000 that I'd been putting back, not keeping it a secret from him. He just wasn't paying any attention. Because I'd been, you know, stuffing my little envelope and going places with cash, and then what I didn't spend, I'd put in my envelope, and then I'd do this and this and this and this. I was still playing my little games and doing all this. And he was so excited. And then he died like 3 months after we got the safe. And then I had to spend a lot of money to for his funeral, so I kind of depleted our emergency fund. I got it down really low, just put it that way. But my financial advisor helped me out a little bit. But I keep it with him. I don't have it in my checking account. But if I need it, I can get my hands on it like that. It's not like he's got to pull it out of anything. I said, you take care of that and you do that. But now that I'm doing my own journey, I was able, on my tight income, I'm 1 month ahead. That's a big deal. And I have, and I haven't gotten it in the mail yet, but I have my house insurance coming due. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's over $2,000. I saved all of that money. I went ahead and started paying for it every month because I pay it once a year. And so I have all that money. Last year, I filed my taxes as soon as I could, and my tax refund came right before I had to pay my insurance on my house. And thank God, if not, I would have had to call my little pocket Joe. But I didn't have to call him. I was able to do it, but I don't know. He takes taxes out, so I should get a refund this year too, but I'm not going to file like I did last year, as desperate as I could, as soon as I could, because I've already got my house insurance paid. I saved up for it. I have my car insurance saved up. I've got this vacation, it was saved up. And now I'm saving for 2027 car insurance and house insurance. And I'm not stressed over money. Even if I didn't have my house paid off, I would be living on a tight budget. And I wouldn't be stuffing some of these categories that I'm stuffing. There'd be fewer of them because I think I have vacation, and then I have entertainment, and then I have adventure. You know, all three of those are basically the same, right? They have a different meaning to me. But, and instead of putting $15 a week towards all of those, I would only be doing $5 to one, you know? Little things like that. I wouldn't be saving for a lot of little different things. And what a bummer is that my health insurance went up it's like $257 or something like that. And it was $101 last year. We call it the Obamacare, but I don't know why it does that. I don't know why it jumps up. I think the first year or so they let you think, wow, this is wonderful, and then they suck it to you. But it's still cheaper than if I went out and got health insurance independently, because that's expensive, even way more expensive. And I have good coverage. I don't have eye care, and I don't have dental, but I have really good medical. And I do wear glasses, but I don't wear them. I'm not so blind. Like, I don't have a lot of eye issues. Like, if I just go to the doctor, and I don't have to get a new prescription every year. So I'm cheaper. It's cheaper for me at this stage of my life not to have eye care. Now, if I go to the eye doctor and he says I might be starting to get cataracts, then that might be a different story. But the guy that helps me get my insurance said that cataract surgery is medical, so it would cover cataract surgery. So I think that's the only thing I would ever have to worry about with my eyes. Right? If something pokes in my eye, then I guess that would be medical, right? I just think it's stupid that dental and eye care is not considered medical. That makes no sense. It's just another way of getting money. And my daughter's a dental hygienist, and she doesn't work for a private practice. She works for one of these chain, in a lot of places, even our eye care place in Hartsville's gone like this. corporations buy them out, and so they aren't they used to be independently owned, but then they just buy out, and now the dentist and the eye doctor let somebody else write their paychecks, and they don't have to worry about managing the office. You know, they just show up for work. But then they have to upsell. That's a real thing, y'all. I'm just telling you. They're upselling a lot in the... I mean, you can go on win a trip to another all expense paid, all inclusive vacation. If you meet your quotas, that's bad. I hope they aren't doing that at our medical group at the hospital. They used to all be independently owned. All of our doctors had their own practices. Now they're all owned by the hospital, and they work for them. I hope they don't have to meet quotas in order to get something. But my daughter doesn't fall into that. She said she's not doing that. Somebody can't afford it. She's certainly not going to try to push it on them. She says she just can't do it. Her heart's too big. Some people don't care. I don't care if you have to eat cat food in order. I don't have to eat cat food, thank God. See, that's something I need to write down that I'm grateful for. But some people don't care if you literally can't afford to eat. They still want you to upsell you on something that you really don't need, you know? And that's sad. And you know why? Because then they're afraid they're going to lose their job because these corporations don't care. They just care about the dollar sign, you know? I mean, if you're like in your 80s, do you really want your teeth whitened? And if you're already complaining that it's so much already, that, you know, paying so much, and then they're trying to tell you that you might be like you might need to do that'll get rid of those coffee stains. Well, leave my coffee stains alone. I want my money to buy me a beach trip. I don't want to spend all my money. They upsell me big time at the vet, though, because I'm paying $600 to $800 next month for my little Gabby girl's teeth to get cleaned. I think they upsold me on that, too. There's no reason why it should cost $600 to $800 for me to have my little puppy dog's teeth cleaned. And if they have to extract a tooth or so, it's going to cost more than that. They don't know until they get there. But yet, people who can't afford it, they're going to push that little care card or some kind of credit card they want you to get. Or pet insurance. I mean, that's crazy, y'all. Crazy. And I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my little Gabby girl. She's my heart. If it wasn't for Gabby last year, I probably would be in a big time depression. A big time depression. I mean, people who lose their spouses they love their animals anyway, but that's who they sit there and talk to at night. You have no idea the conversations I have with my dog. I mean, used to my husband and I would have the conversations with her, but I mean, she really got me through a hard time. And it killed her too. She had a very hard time when my husband died. I mean, we got each other through it together. She could read my mind and I can read hers. And then when that little wiggly tooth the other day in her little mouth broke my heart. She's almost 11 years old. I don't know what I'm going to do when I lose that little girl. Sweetest little dog I've ever had in my whole entire life. Never in my life, my husband and I have always had golden retrievers. And we have one. He's 2 years old. And boy, he was so excited when we went and got that golden retriever. But that is the wildest damn dog we ever had. None of our other Goldens were that wild. Bobo was wild as I don't know what, but Bobo finally calmed down. Bobo was now the best. I still can't get him inside like I want him because, first of all, he gets hot. I mean, he's on my back porch right now with the heater on, but he can get outside. You know, he can go outside. So if he gets too hot, he can go outside. But this little dog that weighs less than 10 pounds, we've never had a little dog. We thought we were not little dog people. Well, I will tell you, I am a little dog person. And my little dog is not the prettiest thing in the world, but she's absolutely gorgeous to us. My son-in-law picks on her, talks about how ugly she is, and it makes me so mad. It makes me mad. But anyway, that's all good. So for the last couple of nights, when I would go next door to eat, my granddaughter, who's 6, she's in 5K kindergarten. She's been hiding, and when I go around the corner, she jumps out to scare me. She doesn't realize I can see her, so of course I act like it scares me to death. Well, tonight when I went over, I went to go speak to her because I didn't see her yesterday. I didn't eat next door last night. So I didn't see her all day yesterday, and I haven't seen her today, so I was seeing her for the first time tonight. And I could hear her in her bedroom, but as I was approaching that way, she went running down the hall and went through their living room and came back into the kitchen that way. So we missed each other. And then she went down to the den, and so I stooped down behind the counter, and I got her mom and dad to call her into the kitchen to come eat. And I squatted and I waited. And when she came around that corner, she didn't even know I was over there because we missed each other. When I came in the house, she did not, I wasn't going to say hey to her. I was just going to go and surprise her. So she didn't know I was there. When she came around that corner and I jumped out and said, boo. She fell on the ground, y'all. She fell back and it scared the living daylights out of her. We were laughing. She was laughing, and she's like, oh, Juju, you scared me so bad. Oh, my gosh, you scared me so bad. And she was laughing. She thought that was funny, but I got her. I've always jumped out and scared my kids. And I have never, because I'm ADD. And so if you have ADD, you understand. You love washing clothes. You will wash clothes all day long. Wash and wash and wash them. But you will not put those boogers up for hell. Like you got to write a note to yourself to say, put clothes away. You'll fold them. Oh, you'll make your nice and neat folds. But you won't. It takes forever to get them back where they go. So I decided I knew how I was, right? I knew exactly how I was. So when the kids were little, and you've got to understand, a lot of kids, I decided that all of my kids were going to have the same socks. Like my son was going to have the same socks always. My daughter, middle-sized daughter, if the one sock I would buy enough, I got rid of all the socks. Every sock looked exactly alike. And did the same for the little one. And the same with underwear. Anyway, they all had their laundry baskets. So when I got stuff out the dryer, I would put everything, and it was so easy. I would just throw their socks and their underwear. Everything went into their own clothes basket. Shirts, when it would come out the dryer, shake it, get it in their laundry baskets, you know. I might fold it up, put it in there, like shirts and things like that. But then on school days or whatever, I would never have to go dig for 2 matching socks or anything like that because all the socks were the same. And, you know, if I had not had a chance to fold up the clothes, their clean clothes would be in that basket. So I wouldn't have my son's shorts mixed in with my daughter's and t-shirts and my little one. Everything was in their own basket, so it was easy. I just sorted it when it came out the dryer. But every now and again, the clothes pile would end up kind of tall. And my little one and we knew the older two were out playing, riding their bikes. And so I was in the laundry room doing stuff. And I told her, I said, let's lay here on the floor and cover ourselves up with towels. And when they come in, they'll go looking for us, and we're going to jump out and say boo. Well, we got underneath those towels, and we laid there forever. We were laughing and talking. We made like this whole little fort thing. Well, we fell asleep. And we woke up to like my son saying, what are y'all doing under there? We never did get to jump out and scare them. But we did. We took a nap. We fell asleep in the clothes pile. They were clean clothes, though. I'd just taken them out. We made our own little pallet in the laundry room on the floor. It was a good nap, too. And she thought she was doing something. She's the one that's getting married, the baby. The baby's, I've read something. The baby of the family, think about it. She knows everything. She knows everything about her whole entire family. Because when she was born, everybody was born. So she got to watch everybody grow up. See, they didn't get to see this one. They were already out the house when she was in, like when she was 16, her sister was 20. You know, when she was 15, her sister was 19. She had already moved out. My son had already moved out. I mean, they didn't get to see her as a teenager, really, like the real teenage years. They were around her, of course, but they didn't live with her when she was a teenager. But she lived with them when they were teenagers. She knows all the secrets. She knows how crazy they act. She knows every single thing about them because she was at that age, you know, that 9, 10-year-old age. And you know how crazy teenagers are. You know, your son gets home and he's upset and he's mad and he's showing his little butt. Now, he would never let his friends know that. You know, he would never let his friends know any of that. Like, she got to see them pitch their temper tantrums and act like lunatics. That teenage girl slamming the doors and acting crazy. They didn't get to see her act that way because they didn't live here. She knows all the secrets. And they said the youngest ones, they hold a special place. And they know all your secrets too because, you know, they saw you lose your shit whenever your teenagers were losing their shit. They know how crazy you can be. They know how crazy you can be. They stay around, it seems like, the longest. I don't know. You have a special bond with the baby. But you have a special bond with your son, too. And then you have a special bond with the middle one, too. All of my children are so special. And all of them are different. And they're all my best friends. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And they call me like, my son's significant other says that he's a mama's boy because he calls me so many times. And I don't call my kids. They call me. My husband said, no, they call you. You don't interfere with their lives. You can't be that kind of meddling grandmama or in-law. You know, he said, they'll call you. And he's right, they call. But no, literally, I am my daughter's best friend. And they're my best friend. Now, when they were teenagers, we were not best friends. Nor did I want to be their best friend. But boy, did they give me joy. I'm so glad I had them. They make my life, and I'm happier for it. But anyway, y'all have a good night. I'm going to talk to y'all later. I didn't realize I talked for this long. And I'm going to try to be productive tomorrow. But I went to Columbia yesterday, and I went to Florence today. I think we got all the wedding dress stuff done. My daughter's getting married, and she's happy, and she's not being a bridezilla. So yay, yay, yay. I'm happy about that. Bye.